Well, it looks like that cut off very quickly. Oh well, never mind. Welcome. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. And welcome to session 2 of how to stream, basically. Look, I'm not wanting to scare you all off very quickly, but I will show you what we've got on the desk at the moment. This is not there to scare you off one iota. This is just to give you an idea of what can be. Following on from the session number 1, basically, okay? So we're trying to do things on a budget. We're basically moving along with, okay, so what's the next steps? What is now the traditional? We've done the iPhone, the Samsung, whatever camera you have. We've done the fact that you need it on a tripod and what else you can actually enhance it with. Tonight we're going to go a little bit further on what would generally be a setup, but I'm also trying to keep it budget friendly. Okay, we are stepping up the levels a little bit here, hence why session 2. Be real, already scared. Please don't. There's a lot of unnecessary. And as we work through all of this, we'll make a lot more sense of what's actually going on. And I've put a few things out as different options as to how you can actually stream. Now, following on from that session 1, of course, the tripod. Okay, always gonna need a tripod. Tripod is key. And the only thing I will say about a tripod is spend as much as you possibly can, because it often gets overlooked. And the tripod is what keeps everything stable. The tripod and the head. Okay. Yeah, I didn't actually get any of the fluid heads out or the tripods. But look, all I will say is when it comes to a tripod, spend as much as you possibly can on a tripod and a fluid head. Okay. If you're doing streaming with anything motion orientated, obviously that's not applicable if you're doing something like you're doing your cooking show and it's in the kitchen. At that point, it's more about having a lot of stands. You don't need an expensive fluid head at that point. Keeping us in line with airport streaming or any form of motion streaming, okay, you need a good fluid head. A fluid head is the difference between shaky pictures or not shaky pictures. Smooth motion. Sorry, my apologies. Smooth motion. Shaky pictures will be anything between the wind taking your lens or buffeting against your camera or whatever the case may be. Yeah, I did. Oh, forgive me, I just realized I haven't actually turned on the fan on my camera. Let's see how far we get. If the video suddenly stops, it's because I forgot to turn the fan on my camera. So today we're going to do a few different things. Like, we've gone from streaming straight from the camera, straight from your phone, whatever the case may be, using Blackmagic. Today we're going to go down into a little bit more of a traditional scenario, which is where people will normally be sat at, and what they'll look for when they're going out streaming. We're going to cover some topics of OBS setup. We're going to cover some topics, and for those of you that are not familiar of OBS, I mean, there are OBS is the platform that most people use. You then have things like vMix. vMix is a little bit more intense. It's also a paid for application, whereas OBS is open source. Open broadcast software, I believe it's called, by the way. OBS is what most people use. So I'm going to go through a very quick setup. This is not an in-depth setup on how you get started with OBS. But we'll do a lot of technical aspects of what's required. Yes, we threw a whole load of opening equipment on that scene there. There you go, open broadcasting software, as I said. But we'll I'm gonna now take you to the next level of what a traditional setup looks like. Okay. With that, I'm gonna swap you over to the desk so that we can see what we're talking about, and I've got a lot of stuff piled on here, so please don't run off instantly. It's no reason to be scared. There's a lot more on here, and there's a lot more behind the shelves and all of that kind of stuff as to what's actually required. So let me just swap you over. So I've tried to, oh, there we go. I'm even in my, let me turn that around. I've tried to organize this in such a way that we're kind of doing our whole audio. Oh, even here. Oh, and here. We've got our batteries, and then we've got our video. Okay. Again, please remember, we're keeping the idea in all of this is budget. All right. Let me actually get off of my desk because that's making my camera move. Let's just move these two down a little bit because I'm just introducing these because they will be introduced at some point as a bit of an advanced, or on the next stream as the advanced side of things. The interesting thing is I see a lot of people out with their Rode Duos and their Rodecaster Pros and all of that kind of stuff. Well, do you know what? That's far superior, okay? And it's a lot cheaper. And again, we're going down the route of keeping it as within a budget of some sort, okay? Then we move on to the whole communications. How are we talking to people? I mean, again, I've got a selection of things here. I've even got headsets. I've got a wireless headset. I've got the we introduced this last week. The video mic go. Then we start stepping up to the shotgun mics and the lavaliers and all of that kind of stuff. Okay, so everything on this desk is options. I've put them here so that you can ask your questions and not, or not be framed into one avenue. It doesn't matter where you go. You can do this in any way, shape, or form. Okay. So first and foremost, let's talk of video. All right. If we've gone from our phone last week, whichever one you're using, to this week, we're now using a dedicated camcorder in this particular case. Okay, so I've just got a Panasonic HCW585M. It's literally just a 1080, okay? But the zoom on it is what's important. Zoom is absolutely important. This has got a 90 times optical zoom, which I would argue I think they call it intelligent zoom, but you can enhance that with digital zoom. I wouldn't ever recommend digital zoom. It makes everything look pixelated. This is going to set you back probably, I don't know, $600. But honestly, if you're only chasing 1080, it is absolutely awesome. I have a couple of other camcorders down there as well, a Sony from about 20 years ago, which actually does just as well. You have to you use what you have. If Samantha is here, Samantha Aviation, she'll tell you herself. She also has a camcorder which works absolutely fine. Dave, good evening, sir. Oh, sorry to hear, mate. No dramas, mate. You look after yourself. Nothing's worse than feeling ill. Appreciate you stopping in as well, buddy. That's absolutely awesome. Thank you. You don't need anything flash. Seriously. Look, I think I went on about it last week, but a lot of people are still watching on the good old-fashioned TV 1980 by 1080. Sorry, 1920 by 1080. You don't need to chase 4K. Seriously. Definitely not from the outset. I mean, our signals here are not the best anyway. So when you're starting out, just get your foundation sorted out. Where do we go from this? So obviously we need to take the video output from your camcorder. I probably need to move a little bit over here. You need to take the video from your camcorder or whatever your video input device is. The best way to do that, obviously on this particular device, I have a HDMI mini coming out of it. I want to convert that to a HDMI full size because they're much better. Everybody talks about video converters and adapters and all of that kind of stuff. Look, this little dongle from Rode, let's turn it around the right way. This little dongle from Rode, which takes a HDMI input and turns it into a USB-C. On sale, you're probably going to pick that up for about $65. Okay, so let's put those two things aside. Obviously, you need a HDMI cable to go, or a HDMI adapter to go from your micro to whatever. Yeah, you're probably talking another 30 bucks. That's cool. So there's those two devices. Now, obviously, you need a laptop or a tablet or whatever that's actually going to take all of these signals and turn it into something amazing. I've just realized I forgot I had this screen. There we go. So now you can actually see me shaking my hands and talking with my hands and everything else. Sheep's eye view. How you been, mate? At sheep's eye view. Okay, interesting. Your tablet, your laptop, whatever the case may be. Some purists will say you need a Mac. Some purists will say you need a high-spec laptop. I've got a Surface Pro and I've got a Dell laptop. Okay, both do the job perfectly fine. Oh, hang on, have I missed something here? I'm missing some conversations. How is Dean Stalker in here? Let me just see if I can get a all chat, live chat. Have I missed somebody? Dean, sorry, mate, I'm so sorry. And welcome along. Yeah, I should, here I am preaching about streaming. If anybody's missing anything in the chat, change it from top chat to live chat. Yeah, good to see you, mate. I hope you're absolutely well, and welcome to today's session 2 of live streaming. Please don't get scared off by the desk. I'm just giving different options and what can be. So, okay, we've got your camera mounted on your tripod on a nice fluid head, and I might go into fluid heads in a different stream, because there is a lot that can go on with fluid heads, and it's very personal to you as a person as to how you get on with things. So we're taking the video output from the camera through to this little dongle. Okay, one would assume if you haven't got a camcorder, you can find a camcorder from somewhere. A lot of people have camcorders still. My Sony it's a good 20 years old, and I kid you not, it still works just as well. Okay, I just don't have the zoom on that one. I think I'm on like 32 times zoom. So we can take our little Rode adapter, plug that straight into our tablet. Now all the fun begins, because it's at this point where we want to start converting that signal to something we can stream out. And this is where OBS comes into play. Again, absolutely free. Doesn't cost you a dime. Very easy to use. I kid you not. Before we flick over to OBS and start looking at how we manage to do that, I just want to go through a couple of the other things. Obviously, if we've got the camcorder, all right, the audio on the camcorder is okay. It's not the best, to be honest. And pretty much most of them all have some form of input for external microphones and all of that kind of stuff. Even if they don't, we can deal with that through OBS. All right. Is everybody keeping up with us right now? Am I going slow enough? Not running too fast? Dean Stalker, welcome to VIP, mate, and really appreciate your support there. Dean, mate, this is the streaming desk. Okay, this is where we do our show and tells kind of thing and how things fit together. My actual desk, yeah, no, different story. It's scary what my other desk looks like. I'm in a very big room and I have multiple desks in here. So this is where I try to do all my show and tells and my tech talks and all of that kind of stuff. So, but mate, really appreciate you joining up to the VIP there. It's that's absolutely awesome. Obviously, when I'm live streaming out doing airports or doing airport stream, it sounds a bit weird when I'm saying it like that. It obviously gives you the opportunity to use all the emojis. I'm not one for locking things down, so it's you pretty much have access to everything just by being a member. But awesome, thank you very much. Appreciate your support there, mate. So yeah, audio. Now, I believe I said this multiple times in the last stream. Audio is actually pretty key. Okay, people will put up with subpar video to a degree, but they'll struggle with bad audio. And always remember, if you're streaming, watch a stream and think about what you don't like, and make sure you don't include it in your video in your streams. Okay, if you don't like a color or something, make sure you've changed that color. If you thought something was too dark, make sure your brightness and contrasts and saturations and all that kind of stuff are all where they should be. If you didn't like the audio listening to wind, change it. You know, when we talk about wind and audio, okay, so we have multiple things. These are the regular foamies that come with any mic you buy. Okay, they're great for inside. Did you get that? They're great for inside. They're not good if you're outside. So if you're doing your cooking show or you're doing a stream of some sort, no worries if you're on the inside. If you're outside, and I apologize, I couldn't find my big fluffy cat. You need things like this. These are designed specifically to deflect wind noise or reduce them against the microphone. Okay, we did have a quick rundown last week of how I pretty much have all of my mics double wind noised, because obviously being out at Christchurch Airport, the wind blows through. Hence why we go from airport streams to airport extremes. So yeah, look, don't rely on this when you're out. Okay, these actually enhance the noise. So, frankly, here's what I'm going to do with this, and that's out the door. All right, we're not having that. All right, microphones. We touched very briefly on the video mic last time. If you're on a budget, it's absolutely awesome. Use it. Oh, the one we just threw away. Oh no, actually it's right here. So this is actually for this one. Okay. If you're on a budget, that's where you go. It's the Video Mic Go, I believe it is. Yeah, Video Mic Go 2. All right. Plug that into your camera. Do you know what? You've just improved your audio 200%. It's still an omnidirectional. It's supposed to be a short shotgun for your camera. Do I believe it is? No. The cardial pattern of it is it seems to catch up a lot of noise from the back as well. we kind of go into the big setups on the next one, but we'll start talking about shotgun mics here. So that's a Rode shotgun, that's a Sennheiser. Okay, the idea of these microphones is that they're forward focused and they don't capture what comes in from behind. All right. When budget allows, for any of your ambient microphones, okay, no, I'm gonna retract here. Even if you're doing your cooking show or anything like this, shotgun microphones are absolutely awesome because they're very focused on where they're pointing. I believe those two microphones have, I think it's 160-degree focus forward. Okay, and there are differences between these, which I'll come back to a little bit later. Obviously, if we're using something like this, we have nothing to mount our camera to. So you need to start thinking about a little bit of gear to mount around your camera. It gets a little bit more, yeah, oh, I don't even have my Samsung to hand. You kind of start building out your camera. I mean, hopefully on your Fluid, you'll have somewhere to mount a cold shoe or something like that. So when we talk about cold shoes, we're talking about these end pieces here. This is pretty much a cold shoe. And it's called a cold shoe because it has no contacts. No contacts whatsoever. Let me get that a little bit closer. There we go. It's literally just something that slides into your into the bracket on your frame on your camera. A hot shoe is something that is then connected via or has pins. A flash, for example, is considered a hot shoe. If I take my my Holyland mics, for example, I have an adapter that they plug into the camera, and that is a hot shoe that then converts whatever signal is coming out of the camera into a USB-C for basically my receiver. Okay, so that basically plugs into my hot shoe adapter on my camera and allows me to convert that to what the camera understands. Okay, are we all still with me at this point? We're covering a lot in a very short period of time, just mainly because I want to get over to some of the basic configuration of what needs to happen. Audio input devices. Okay. Audio devices. And that, and that, and that. When we stream, we always strive for the best we possibly can. That's not where we're at today. We're at with what can we actually get away with that's going to be acceptable and suitable. These are my Sony WH whatever versions they are. So they're mic and speakers, obviously. They are Bluetooth connected, so you can get away with using that with just OBS. You can use them if you have something like that. It's really not that difficult. All of these are nice to have. This is when we start going into ambient and speech. Okay, so right now I'm using my Holylands, not these ones because these are my other set, which are also wireless. All right, so out of this unit here, I can take a standard 3.5mm cable straight into straight into my camera, and then I can have two mics. It's really that simple. Okay, that's then giving me the ability to be wireless away from my camera. Now, why would you do that? Everybody seems to stand there with our awesome headset broadcast speakers that you're tethered to something. Well, unless you're just wanting to hear your ambience, or what your levels are, which quite frankly you'll very quickly be told by the people watching you whether you're too low or too high, or the ambience too high or too low, and you can do that all through the audio interface of OBS. Okay, I love not being tethered to the microphone, to the tripod. So I'm Holyland all the way through. Now, I mean, I go a little bit more advanced on my Holylands, and I have wireless or single piece microphone, all that kind of stuff. You don't need a full-blown headset, honestly, not for streaming, because look, I can't hear any of you. I can read what you're saying. I can't hear you. You're going to tell me very quickly if there's something wrong with my audio, so that's all good. I can see I've got audio on my meters. So therefore, for me, it's literally a wireless mic and a lapel mic. All right. Bringing that into, whilst I'm talking about lapel mics, obviously that's a lapel mic. All right, hopefully you can see that okay. It's a tiny little mic that you see everybody on stage wearing. It's like super small. Just always remember, again, the foamy principle applies. Foams are only good for inside. I mean, even now on my mic, I've got, if I can pull that, I've still got a fluffy on. Okay, because it breaks down on the noise. I'm not going to worry about cables in this particular case. Lapel mics are awesome because you're getting very direct focus on the audio, and it brings it all in. Where are we up to? Batteries. Okay. So, camcorders. Camcorders are awesome because they have their own batteries. Don't expect to get anywhere near a long stream out of a camcorder off the camcorder battery. You're lucky if you get maybe 3-4 hours off of a camcorder battery. Obviously, they're getting a little bit better these days, but yeah. So, if you're planning on flying, which unfortunately in New Zealand we have to from south to north and north to south, you need to be under that 100 watt hours. This is the small rig that I use. It's literally a 99 watt hour battery, or I've then got the Valor, which is also the same, like 99 watt hour. Sorry, no, this is 140 watt output, but it's a 99 watt hour battery. They're absolutely great if you're traveling on an aircraft. There's a couple of little hacks you can do with a few of those things. But that's a different story. Always, you're limited to 2 of those. If you're taking your camera or a camcorder, make sure you take your USB. Take one of those devices and that is 100% gonna sort your camera life out. That I have a habit of putting an additional screen on the back of my camera, just because I like everything blown up a little bit more, and thus it obviously consumes more. But if I take my this camera out, for example, off of one of those batteries, I can run for a good 10-11 hours. There's no drama, so long as I'm not trying to power anything else off of it. So normally you've got one for your camera, one for your tablet. Yeah, you'll find a way to do that. Let me just have a quick read here. I'm still with you, Tony, still here. Always curious to see how everybody's solutions have their own personal flair. And you're absolutely right, Dean. This is my opinion and my setups, or multiple setups. I've tried multiple setups, hence why I have so much equipment. This isn't the correct way that works for you guys. You'll find your own way. I'm just trying to give you an understanding of how you don't need to go and spend thousands of dollars on different things. So let's just have a quick recap. Okay, so we can take our microphone. In this particular case, I don't know, it's a $200 microphone. We can plug that straight into the camera. We can take the video feed from the camera with audio into the Rode HDMI to USB-C adapter, into your laptop, tablet, whatever you have. And there's your audio. You don't have individual control of your audio and your video because it's all coming through one signal, but it's still there. Okay, I mean, I guess at the end of the day, you can turn your what am I talking about? Sorry, I have completely led you up the garden path. Of course you have control over your audio because it's one audio signal coming through. If you're plugging one microphone into your camera, you then go and change your HDMI audio signal to whatever level you want. That becomes a problem when you're doing something like this, which is the Holyland, where you can have 4 microphones. Out of the box it's 2, but you can actually use 4 wireless microphones out of this one. If you're plugging the receiver straight into your camera, at that point it now becomes one signal via your HDMI into OBS and out. All right. The good news is on this, you can actually go into the Holyland receiver and change your audio signals from that perspective. And that obviously makes things a little bit more easier to manage as well. This is where you need to fully understand your equipment when you're out in the field, when you're streaming off of a tripod or whatever the case may be. You need to understand everything about how your equipment works, because if you don't, those gremlins will come and find you, and they will find you fast and could potentially destroy your stream from the outset. For one reason or another, I had problems before starting this, and Dino's Aviation, welcome along, great to see you, mate, and absolutely awesome to have you. So understanding your equipment is key. All right. Where was I going with that? I actually had a reason to say that, and that's right, because before I started the stream, my other Holyland, I mean, I actually, because I love Holyland so much because of what they are capable of doing, I have 2 sets. It's also helpful for me when I'm out in the field, because when one receiver dies, I can swap them out very quickly and swap them over. Let's have a look. Very cool. Just saw this now. We'll watch in full on the big learning curve for my grassroots streams. Hey, that's absolutely awesome, buddy. Keep good health. Yep, yeah. Davo, I don't know if Davo's still here. I think he might have disappeared. He's not in the greatest of health today, apparently. So how do we make all of this sit together? All right, I'm going to quickly remove some of these items out of the way just so that we know what we're dealing with from a basic stream. Again, so we've got multiple audio interfaces here, okay? If you're starting out, then I do recommend the Vocaster 2. You don't need to go and grab anything like a Rodecaster or a Tascam or anything like that. Look, I don't even know where it's gone. Even the Rode AI Micro. Absolutely awesome. It gives you two audio inputs in, one headphone out. Okay. We'll keep that for now. Let's get that. Well, actually, no, we'll keep that. We're going to swap. We're going to get rid of that stupid foamy mic, and we'll put that on there as well, because I'm not a fan of foamies when you're out and about. So let's throw that on there. Okay, so we've got our camera. Now, depending on which route we go, I'm going to take the microphone, the headset microphone out of the equation. And again, please note, I have a Fluffy, okay? Key to streaming out there, because wind is not your friend. It will destroy your audio. But I'm going to take it out of the equation because I don't feel on a traditional stream you kind of need that. So let's get that out of the way. What are we doing? Okay, so we got that as an option, that as an option, that as an option. All right. We'll pretend I've got a HDMI cable from there to the camera. All right. And then your tablet, laptop, whatever the case may be. So we're taking, we're plugging our audio into our camera. We're taking the video feed from the camera into the Rode dongle, which I believe, like I said, you can collect on at about $65 if it's on a sale. Don't ask me for New Zealand, for Australian or US dollars. It is what it is. And then we're taking the USB-C into our laptop or tablet. All right. Yeah, no, wind is definitely not your friend. 100% Dean, you are. I mean, look, so we kind of come back to this one. Okay, so when we talk about headsets, this is the Audio Technica BPHS or BHS1. I forget what BPHS1 I think it is. I do recommend the Vocaster, which gives you the XLR inputs as well as the main jacks for your microphones, for your headphones. Sorry. This device is absolutely awesome, and I ran with this for a long time. And don't get me wrong, if we go behind me, if I can get out of the way. I have the Rodecaster Pro 2, I have the Rodecaster Duo, I also have the Streamer X, along with multiple other products. All right. It's what I'm trying to do here is give you the options of how to do this relatively on a budget without spending thousands of dollars. So spending big on headsets, they're flexible, but you're looking at 15 for a mixer and a headset with, yeah, you're absolutely right. absolutely, Dean. And that's kind of not what this series is about. This series is about being able to do it without spending thousands of dollars. Okay. I mean, look, even your Holylands, they're not cheap by any means, but the one thing I will say to everybody is you get what you pay for. You know the story. It's you buy cheap, people are going to know you bought cheap because of the way it comes through. To give you an idea here, I mean, the Vocaster 2, I managed to pick up on some form of sale, and I think it was about $160 maybe. And I think it's absolutely awesome. You know, for what you need it to do, it does the job. And it's all powered by USB. You know, or USB-C, I should say. You have multiple outputs, you have multiple inputs. It's absolutely awesome. It's got Bluetooth. Do I know what the Bluetooth was for? No, I never figured it out. But you can plug your phone into it as well. It's just an awesome device for streaming, and at that price, you're not breaking bank, right? You've got two inputs, you've got complete control over your ambient microphone, you've got complete control over your talking microphone. I mean, obviously, if we're talking XLR inputs, we do need to start thinking about adapters maybe from XLR to 3.5, which quite frankly you can pick one up for about $30. Gaming headset to keep things cheap. Yep, yeah, no, absolutely, Dean. I completely agree. The Vocaster, I can't fault at 100. I mean, look, full retail, you're paying. I think it's about $340. If you find it on special, it's $160, and at $160, New Zealand dollars, obviously. At $160, it's an awesome device. I wouldn't be going anywhere else, quite frankly. Of course, it doesn't do 32-bit or anything like that. 32-bit float, which means if you suddenly start screaming and shouting, the audio will sort itself out, so it's not clipping and all that kind of stuff. But for what it is there as, it's absolutely fine. Hey, look, maybe I'll maybe on the next stream I'll plug myself into the Vocaster. I'll put myself on a headset. And you'll see, and I'll alternate between the two so that you can actually see how these things work. Then we kind of start getting into next week's conversations with the Tascams and what we're already talking about, the Roadcasters and all that kind of stuff. The only reason I wouldn't recommend the Roadcasters, they're very big and bulky, and if you're out and about streaming in the middle of a field, they're a big device to be carrying around. Even the Duo. Yes, I have the Streamer X up there. I've had one too many problems with the Streamer X to be talking about it and recommending it as a device for people starting out. I'm not confident the 4K works very well on it. It's all right. Well, that was fun. Okay. So here I am bleating on about how great OBS is, and it actually decided to crash on me for the first time in a little while. My apologies. Okay, how far did we get then? Because I was sat talking away to myself and did not even realize we had dropped stream. Well, yeah, okay, and welcome to the real world of OBS. And this is one of the drawbacks of an open source platform. Look, I've had a lot of success with OBS, and I can't fault it. I think that's the first time in a long time that it's actually crashed on me. I've normally made sure things are going on. I would always recommend that OBS is sat on its own platform, which in this particular case it is. But okay, welcome back, guys, and I apologize for that. Here I'm talking about how great streaming is and how things should be done, and I can't even keep my own platforms running. Thank you, OBS, for making a mockery of me. Fun and games on live streaming. Look, vMix is very expensive, but this is the other reason why you would go down the route of something like vMix if you're mission critical. If I go and do any of my commercials or weddings or anything like that, I tend to use vMix because I know it's a little bit more reliable and stable. But with that said and done, that's the first time I've had OBS crash on me in a long time. So if you're not being paid for the dollar, paid for your streams, look, just go with OBS, okay? It's really that simple. So, where was I? Where did I get to? And what was I talking about? So, we've got our microphone that's plugged into our camera. We've got our camera that is using multiple different adapters to go from the HDMI micro, mini, full size to a USB-C adapter into our tablet. And then we want something like this for our actual conversations. Now that can be Rode, it could be DJI. Rode, DJI, or Hollyland. And Hollyland is my preference because they seem to have taken the lead on a lot of things with some of this stuff. I mean, Hollyland is the only one that I know that can do 4-into-1 receiver right now. And when we go into the next level of doing all of this, you'll understand why that's actually quite key for me. That then brings us over to the application that decided to crash over there for how we're transmitting to the world. Now, I'm not doing the whole install, where to go to get OBS. You probably at this point should know how to do all of that. If you don't, streaming's probably still a little bit too early for you. But go to OBS Studios and you can download the software. Runs on Linux or Microsoft. So grab your package. All right. Let's go over to the only thing I don't have set up here is having pulled all my different inputs into things. So we'll kind of try to make do with what we have. So this, when you originally start up with OBS, you're gonna get a slightly different screen with some prompts and all that kind of stuff, as in it wants to optimize your streaming setup. You always want to set your own bandwidth and committed burst rates and all of that kind of stuff. It will become a lot clearer very soon as we start going through. This is your basic setups. Okay, so your scenes are what you're seeing here, so we're going from one camera to the next camera. These are scenes, all right? They are all, they're all set up as scenes. So if I had cameras set up, okay, I'm getting way ahead of myself here. First off, we need to go into some settings, all right? You need to come down to your video. If you're streaming in HD, make sure your base canvas says 1920 by 1080. All right, that is key. So that's your base canvas. Also make sure your output screen is the same. Now, do not try to upscale. Downscaling is much better than upscaling. If you start upscaling, it's going to get messy and ugly. All right. The only time you'd probably want to worry about this is if you're trying to feed off to a different platform, maybe. I don't know. I've never had any reason to change any of these settings from what I'm actually doing. I mean, for me, I would normally be at 60 frames, just because my camera allows me to do that. I do just want to point out, standard movies that you watch, okay, are normally sitting at 24, it's actually 24.97, I think it is. Frames per second. That gives you the blur and all of that kind of stuff. If you're looking for clarity, start jumping these things up. Oh, sorry, 29.97, not 24. 29.97 is what most films that you watch on the TV are all about. Okay. A lot of us tend to sit around about 30 or 60 frames per second. I stream out in 60 frames per second in case I want to slow anything down, which is where that comes in useful. So, I mean, if you imagine 60 frames per second, twice the speed, it gives me the ability to slow it down and rebuild it later on. All right. Other things we need to output. Output is key. All right, you will start off on simple mode, and this is what you will see. You will see your video bitrate. What the hell is a video bitrate? Okay, that's the amount of bandwidth that you're giving to your video. Okay, at 1080p, you do not need to be any, at 1080/30, you do not need to be any more than 4 megabits per second on that. Oh, it would help if I was using the right keyboard. All good. That can easily be dropped right down to 4 megabits per second. All right, on 1080/30. If you're doing 1080/60, you want to be up at about 6 megabits per second. I know we're getting a little bit technical here. Your software encoder. Now, because I'm using a different system that I would normally be doing any of my streaming on, I don't have any of my graphics cards or anything like that, so I can't do 265 and I can't do any hardware. I know that says I can, but I can't. But basically at this point, if you've got the capability to do hardware encoding, do hardware encoding. Okay, it takes all of the efforts out of the CPU. Also, when you come to your output, change it to advanced. All right, and we want to be changing these in settings. Now, one thing that YouTube, I can't talk about Twitch or Instagram or Facebook or any of those streaming platforms, because I don't do a lot to it. But YouTube definitely likes keyframes of every 2 seconds. All right, so make sure you have that set. Fast in this particular case is absolutely fine. We don't need anything else. All right, apply that and off you go. If you have hardware video encoding, please make sure you select that. I know it says I have, oh no, actually it doesn't. Okay, here we go. So there we go. So I've got QuickSync or X245. Normally for me, this will work a lot better in QuickSync. It lowers the band. Well, there you go. See, it's automatically dropped things down for me. And you want balanced medium, all of that kind of stuff. Carwin, good evening, mate. Good to see you, and welcome along to session 2 of the Tech Talk. Yeah, so when you change those settings, again, make sure your keyframes are set to 2. B-frames as well, they should probably be set to, actually I think they need to be set to 4 if I remember rightly. Oh no, they can't go to 4. So yeah, no, they need to be set to 2 as well then. Okay, so that's your output. All right, audio. Audio can pretty much be left alone. There's very little you kind of need to do this, as long as your general says sample rate 48 and your channel says stereo. That's where you sit for default. And then once you've got all that sorted out, go to your stream, set up your account, sort it all out. Happy days. That will be all of that sorted. Always remember to hit apply on everything, and we're back to here. So scenes. What is a scene? Let's get rid of that. Yep, okay. As we said, scenes, how I normally do this is I create my different scenes for starting. Oh, I need to pull the other keyboard. My apologies, one moment. So just doing a basic setup, we'll do starting. We'll do the main scene, which is everything we do when we're talking away right now, and we'll do ending. Very simple. Okay, so we've got our starting scene, we've got our main scene, which is you on camera, and we've got our ending scene. Now, under our starting scene, we probably want an image, don't we? Not that I'm actually going to have any images on here, so let's go opening image. Awesome. Yeah, I don't have, I forgot to actually transfer some images. We got anything on the pictures? Nope. All right. But you would basically go and find your image, plug it in, open it up. Job done. Make sure it's unload image when not showing, because you don't want it taking up memory. And we add that. So now we've got over here our opening image. All right. Now, everything at the bottom is what will over. Let me. Oh, hang on. Let me get this right. The right way around. No, actually, everything on top of that will. So anything on top of this, if I put another image on top of this, you will actually lose whatever is underneath. So if you load another image on top of this one, it will also, that will overshoot or overpower whatever is underneath. Okay, so it's a layered based system. Whatever is on top will overshadow whatever's on the bottom. We have a lot of options here. Okay, so we have audio input capture, audio output, browser color, display capture, game capture, image slideshow, media, scenes, text, video, and window. Now, when we talk video, we're talking about let's go back to it. We're talking about our Rode device right here. Okay, that will actually show up as a USB-C video capture. All right. So we would add our video source right there. I have no idea what video source I'm going to be able to capture here because, oh, hang on. Do I have a USB on this computer? No, I actually don't. That's why I haven't plugged it in. But I'll tell you what I do have. I have the TV capture card. Let's see if we can. Let's see if we can use that. So video capture. Let's just keep it as that. What have we got? Oh, actually no, we don't have anything apparently. Awesome. Okay, so normally you would see a USB-C, USB-C capture card, whatever it was, and you would literally just add that. What can do? See, this is the problem with still being in boxes. I don't have anything to plug into it quickly. One moment. Let me see, where have I put that? Oh, I don't even know where that is. Oh, well, there's the wireless Rode anyway. I know where it is. Let's go through here and see. There it is, right there. Now that's a USB-C, so let's see if I can do that USB-C to USB-A. And see if we can pull it in as a video source. What have I got? USB-C. Okay. Let's see if I've got a USB-C to USB-A. There we go. That's exactly what that is. Hopefully it's not just power. Oh yeah. I will try to plug this in and see if we can pull it as a video source. Let's plug you in there. Let's see if this works. Ah, of course it doesn't, because I don't have any. Oh no, there we go. No, okay, so that didn't recognize it. What a shame. Okay, I was trying to use one of my Pocket 3s to convert to video, but apparently that doesn't work. I mean, it might even be the cable, I don't know. Yeah, not every USB-C cable is identical, just for a point. So once you've grabbed your video, it will then obviously appear as a video capture device, which it does here. Unfortunately, we don't have a video capture device in this particular case, because I do not have any idea where any of my USB webcams are. That was a bit of a bad forethought on my behalf. But what we would expect to be seeing now is a video image, and it's really frustrating me now. I know I can get a video image in here somehow, I just don't know how right now. Okay, food for thought for the next one then. I will need to go and sort that out. Right, cool. So once we've done that, then you've obviously got your opening music and all of that kind of thing. Okay, so what we actually do is we go and put music will be under media. Okay, so we'll go opening music. I know for some of you guys this might be very basic, but this whole session is based for people that don't actually know how any of this works. We can start getting into bigger, more complex aspects with all of this. And do you know, I've just realized I want that there. Let's get rid of that. Now we haven't actually got rid of that. What's happened is it still stays in the system. So he says it's not there. Okay, maybe I did delete it. Interesting. It doesn't normally delete. Okay. Yeah, normally that would stay, so I don't really know what's happened there. J-Ro, good afternoon, good evening, good morning. So normally you would have when you go to here and go video capture, you'd normally go add existing and it would still be there. For some reason it's not still there, but that's okay. We're not worried about that. So in this particular case, we've got our opening image, we've got our opening music. Let's just go and quickly grab an image of some sort. Just so that we can demonstrate this. NZ Sounds image. Yeah, images. Let's go and grab that one. File. Open image in a new tab. There we go. Beautiful. Save image as, and we'll save it in downloads. Cool. Milford Sounds. So let's go back to our image because I don't like the fact we don't have anything in there. We'll go back to downloads, Milford Sounds. Okay. Now, apparently our image isn't quite the size we want it to be, so we're probably going to have to stretch it out a little bit just to make sure it's let's pull you down. The other thing I will actually add is you can undock all of these things. So if it doesn't work for you, I mean, yeah, I forget I'm displaying this via a different screen. Now, here we go. Is it Alt? It is Alt. Okay, so now let's drag that out. Oh, hang on. No, that was bigger than the screen. Cool. So the image is actually a lot bigger than the screen. But there you go. How do we get some non-royalty music without? But look, yeah, we can throw music into there as we've already said. All right. From there, once you're ready, you obviously go over your main screen. Again, we go through the process. We add our different video sources, and likewise with our ending sources. All right. That was a very quick blast through a lot of equipment and a lot of the setup of. Oh, hang on, Dean Stalker. Does the Rode dongle give you a test pattern? No, it doesn't, mate. It just actually shows. Let me actually see if I can plug it into. What have I got here? I got everything plugged in here. Let me see if I can throw it into here and see if I can get an image from it. It doesn't give you a test pattern. No, okay, that hasn't showed up without having some form of HDMI plugged into it. Oh, of course, you've got no battery plugged in. Let me actually just write that down so I can actually bring that back to the next stream and deliver that answer. No, it doesn't actually deliver a test pattern. What it does do is just give you a Rode device picture logo kind of thing on screen. Cool. Normally I have my own test pattern screens just because I'm doing videography and photography. And of course, when I want them, I can't find them. And I found them out the other day to actually show you guys. No, got them. Where have I put them now? Oh, the joys of moving houses, the fun. Yeah, look, it's we're kind of talking. We're kind of talking next level kind of thing for test patterns and all that kind of stuff. A lot of people wouldn't understand what the test pattern was for or why you would have it from if they're just starting out in streaming, and I will definitely come into that on the next on the next session, because that's actually a very good point. We're starting to get into advanced talk now, aren't we? When we start talking about test patterns and everything else. Let me just bring you back to me. There we go. Yeah, it looks very dark. Interesting. Yeah, I mean, test patterns are. I use them a lot when I'm doing any kind of wedding videography or anything like that. No, you're all good, Dean. Carry on, mate. It's look, we were already on blimps and everything else on the last session, so it is difficult. And look, I've been in IT for a good 40 years. And it's all, when I'm doing any kind of support, my first instinct is to go to all the complicated stuff. Right, did you check that? Did you check that? Did you check that? Rather than, have you turned it off and on again? Do you have internet access? All of the simple stuff, you know. And even with streaming, when I'm out, the amount of times I've been caught out with, because I'm busy thinking about the complex rather than the, oh, did I remember to turn it on? and Charlie Two Sheep will attest to all of this. I've been out there multiple times and I've gone, oh, I was busy checking cables, I was busy checking, because I use a lot of wireless equipment, checking all the batteries, making sure, and it's just like, did you turn it on? Boom, there it is. So yeah, I hear you, mate. It's difficult to hold back, and I'm trying to refrain from overblowing people's minds with this particular stream. Sardi, there you are. Kiss it does. That's exactly the one, mate. It exactly is the antidote to all of this. And mate, I hope you're doing absolutely awesome. Good to see you. Appreciate we've been a little bit out of radar for a couple of months, but we're coming back. We're coming back strong, hopefully, and we're adding a little bit of technical stuff into all of this as well. So welcome to session 2 of how to stream, really, from my perspective at least. Okay, guys, look, I've done a lot of talking. I've done a lot of explaining. An hour and a half's worth, actually. Absolutely keen to see any questions, yeah, I'm opening up the floor. Let's go. I mean, I have a lot of equipment around me, and I can assure you the question you asked me will be the one piece I still haven't unboxed. But fire away, guys. Let's see what you got. Just a little comment there from Sardi. G'day, legend. Great to see you. The how to stream won't be long. We'll be back in Christchurch. Oh, mate, hook us up when you're here. Honestly, don't need to worry about hotel. Just hit me up, eh? We'll sort it out. Are you able to show us your camera you use daily for airport live streaming, Tony? Yeah, absolutely. 1 minute. Let me just go and grab it. The camera I generally use is one of two, to be honest. Not that I actually know where my other one is. Yeah, no. Let me throw you on the top down. So this is generally my setup when I'm out. Now, let me take some of these cables out. Actually, no, I can't take them out because they're all pre-configured. So this is the camera I'm using. This is my FX3 that I use whilst I'm out streaming. Again, don't get disheartened, guys. What I would highly recommend if you're going to go out streaming is this little bad boy. Okay, so we've done the camcorder, we've done the we're doing the top end. That's next week kind of environment. So this is my other camera that I also like to use. Now, the only drawback with this is if you want to push 4K, you can't. You can record 4K, but you can't stream in 4K. Now, the zoom on this is absolutely amazing. Okay, so this is the Nikon CP 1200, sorry, P1200? P1200. It is outstanding, and I'll tell you what, I challenge any of you to go and find a review that doesn't go on about how great this camera is. All right, if you're starting out on streaming and you need long distance, as in telephoto, this is your camera. All right, it's an all-in-one device, but my goodness, you can get some great low lights. I'm not saying it's perfect for low light, but you do get some great low lights. And if you're into your astrophotography, it is an awesome camera for that too. All right. But again, we're going through the different realms. So we've gone from the camcorder, the 1080. I believe the 4K is about 1,200 New Zealand dollars. Okay, we're going up to the P12000. Has great photos, is great for long distance, so long as you don't want 4K. All right. At that particular range, we're now talking, I don't know, I think they're about $2,200, brand new. I'm streaming to you right here on a ZV-10 Mark II. Okay. This is great for inside. It's great for other bits and pieces that I do. Do I think it's great for streaming? No. It has a terrible habit of overheating. It's great if you want small snippets of 4K, but I would never be using this for a 4K camera. It just literally within about 40 minutes to an hour, you're overheating. Okay. Great for photography. It's an APCS at the end of the day. It's not a full frame. But obviously I can swap all my lenses around and all of that kind of stuff. But have family. Yep. Yeah. Everybody has lives. We're not worried about anything. Hopefully, Sada, you did manage to catch up with or watch Sheep's Eye View's debut stream. Done an awesome job. She absolutely nailed it. So yeah, looking forward to our next one. This is as per your handle. Yeah, 100%. Throw your channel out there, Telly. You can do it. Drawbacks of this one. Yeah, 4K. Yeah, you can't stream in 4K. I hate cameras that give you HDMI micro. I have a real problem with micro. They don't do very well. I also have a problem with the 3.5mm inputs on these. I hadn't used my original one for anything particularly heavy. I'm always very particular to make sure that I secure all of my cables. The 3.5mm jack on this one gave up after about the third time of using it, and I got a snotty repair email or a snotty repair docket back saying, don't put stress on your cable. Well, I didn't put stress on my cable, in case you're watching this, Nikon. What I actually done is made sure that there was no stress on it, and made sure that it was as relaxed as possible. You just use crap parts, I guess. Anyway, bleat over. So that's that one. And like I said, now we kind of go up into a different level here with the FX3. The FX3 is obviously interchangeable lens mount, which is great because it means I can use it for a lot of other different things when I'm not using it for streaming. It is very much cinema focused, which means I don't have overheating problems. And yeah, when you remember that you're in S-Log and not streaming properly, because my last stream looked very washed out. And that was actually nothing to do with the camera. That was nothing to do with the lens. It was more to do with the fact that I'd actually forgot I was using it for filming for a little bit of a feature film that's going on that we're looking to push out, and so my settings were completely different and I forgot to change it all over. So guys, I apologize for that last stream. It was shocking. It was washed out something terrible, but it won't be that way next time. We will touch a little bit more on this setup in the next one as we start going into the advanced world of streaming, and we'll start looking more at the Tascams and all of that kind of stuff, and bring more of the audio, more video. More video, more video interfaces, more audio interfaces, and all of those kind of things. Sam, I'm not entirely sure that was actually answering your question there when you was asking me to talk more about my main camera setup. If you've got anything more specific you'd like to be answered, please ask away, and I will absolutely try to explain more without going too much into too much depth, just because that's where this camera kind of goes into the next stream where we're more on the advanced level. We're not at budget anymore. We've kind of gone into the realms of the advanced level, and what we would use it for. So lenses. So I started out with the Sony E-mount, or the FE mount, 200/600. The problem, no, it was 300/600. It's right up there, 300/600. But the problem is with that is where we are in Christchurch, you couldn't zoom out enough to get the full camera, the full aircraft, and you'll see in quite a few of my my streams, there were, as they were coming by, I was only able to get like half the aircraft, and that annoys the backside out of me. That was not a fault of my own, other than I couldn't zoom out enough. So I then went and bought a Sigma 60-600. Yeah, kind of damned if you do and damned if you don't. Look, I can now zoom right out and get all of the aircraft as they're going by. The only problem is with Sigma, they had a lot of problems during the early days where their zoom and focus dials were loose, and people would complain when they put the lens down, it would fall out and actually cause a lot of damage to the lens. And they're still the same price as the Sonys, so they tightened them up, okay, but they've tightened them up too much now. I use a lot of full focus motors and everything else on mine, so I don't have to touch my camera as much as possible. I have, let me just swap back. I have fun things like this. So the Nucleus Nano 2, excuse me, and the power handle and all of that kind of stuff, with motors that allow me to zoom in and out without touching the camera, thus not introducing any form of instability and all of that kind of stuff. Hey, Sadi, really appreciate you dropping in, buddy. Love the fact that you've stopped in, and yeah, we're here to give you more streams. Appreciate this is also a little bit of a technical aspect, so if you're yawning your head off, I also understand. But mate, thank you so much for stopping in. Absolutely awesome to see you again. You take care, have fun with your family, and we'll hopefully see you on Wednesday on the next real stream. Yeah, so I use motors to do a lot of my zooming and focusing and all that kind of stuff without touching the camera. I have a lot of AR implementations for a lot of it as well. So yeah, the idea is that I can put the camera outside if it's on a rainy day, sit inside and control it all remotely without having to be out in the rain. The awesome situations. Oh, and there goes that one broken. Cool. Never mind. Yeah, for a lot of this, it's about for a lot of for streaming from airports, it's about the telephoto lens. I also have the Pocket 3, which I can use as my BTS camera. I have the Insta360 X5s. As I said, I've got a couple of other cameras for that closer kind of range. I mean, look, I've had a few conversations about putting the 300-600 on the FX3. Using the Nikon as a close-up kind of camera, having dual cameras from that perspective. But we also go out and do dual cam streams anyway. I've normally got telly on another camera from the cafe. The last one didn't work just because we were doing a completely different setup, in that it was her using her setup, coming through her own environment into my streams and all that kind of stuff. So that it didn't work on that particular occasion, and that was actually down to my fault for not pinholing the firewall on the morning. But yeah, we normally have dual cameras from different angles. I mean, where telly was on Friday, I think she done absolutely awesome. You know, she was running with I believe it was a 7300, and from that position, it worked perfectly. Where we are at the mound, or when we're at the mound, or if you're at one end of a runway, you know, taking into account it's 2.5 kilometers basically to the intersection where domestic and the main runway is. It's a long way off. No, not at all. Oh, 3,300. Okay. No, it was what it was, and there was a whole world of different changes, so nobody to blame. Bitchel, good evening, and welcome along. Welcome along to session 2 of how to stream and how to do it on a budget, I guess. Yeah, routers. You was asking about routers. Where are we at? 7:20. All right. Routers. I don't really use a router, mate. Because I'm either using the the ZV-10 or the FX3. I can stream directly from the camera via my phone to the internet. I don't need any intermediaries. If I'm using something like the Nikon, which obviously I can't stream directly, I do need to start thinking about any kind of conversion from the HDMI to 264 or 265, whichever the case may be. I then start going down either the ATEM Pro Mini ISO or I start looking at Kilo View, my Kilo View modem. So this is normally, we're kind of up in the advanced world now, but this is what I would normally use if I'm doing a portable stream. So it's literally a Kilo View P3. That allows me to have bonding, all of that kind of stuff. So if you watch the We Followed Emirates in stream, we used that one for Up in the Sky. Of course, I forgot to turn on the different modems in there, because that can actually contains 4 modems, 2 4G, 2 5G. So that's, we start getting into the advanced realms with that equipment. For basics, I'm literally, if it's you out there in the wild, and you're not having to do anything super fantastic like being thousands of feet up in the air or anything like that, you're literally just connecting your mobile phone to your laptop, your modem, whatever the case may be. Now, the one thing I would say is, where possible, always use a cable. Try not to use Wi-Fi if you can help it, because that Wi-Fi isn't as fast as you seem to think it is. I mean, it's getting better as time goes on, but I'm guessing most people don't have the latest and greatest iPhones, Samsung phones, and all of that kind of stuff. So with that, if you can get a USB-C to Ethernet adapter, or sorry, a USB-C, yeah, no, you can go direct from a phone from USB-C to your laptop. If you can do it that way, always do it that way. Where possible, always keep a cable there. I know in this day and age that sounds a little bit strange, but cables are reliable, okay? They're the fastest. Wi-Fi still isn't as fast as you think it is, especially, so let's take my wedding streaming, for example, okay? I can rock up in the morning, I can have the best cellular signal known to man. I can have the best Wi-Fi signal back to my laptop. The minute you've got 120 people all competing for that Wi-Fi signal, all competing for that cellular signal, things go south very quickly, and trust me, don't ask me how I know, all right? I just know, and I never made the mistake again. All right. We've got a little bit more time for a couple more questions. If anybody has questions. Multiple bags of water. Radio waves don't like water. Yes, very much so. Yeah, as do most of your equipment. I mean, I've custom made a lot of rain protective covers for a lot of my equipment. I've bought a whole load of rain protective equipment, rain protective covers for my equipment, and yeah. Oh, Tanny, what is the model of your eyeglasses? They're just generic reading glasses that I use. I'm very fortunate in I'm a plus vision, and so therefore I don't need to worry about prescription or anything like that. Yeah, missed you. So yeah, I can just pretty much go and buy off the shelf. Sam, so without saying too much, my grandfather was very much a videographer in his heyday, and he was old school videographer. So he was all the big reels of cinefilm and everything else. Learned a lot from him. I won't delve too much more into that, but yep, I do kind of come from that background. Mitchell, yeah, I'd love to say I own an ATR 72, but no, unfortunately I don't. Nope. And if I did own an aircraft, it would be an ATR 72 as well, because I'm not all about Learjets. I'd love the ride on the ATR 72s. ATR 72 or a Dashi. Nice. Sam, you need to be a little bit more specific than favorite tech. I don't know. What do you mean from favorite tech? I mean, is this table of tech not enough? Favorite camera? Hey, look, again, it depends on what purpose. If I'm talking streaming, I love the P1100A. It's so versatile and just manages everything. And it's not stupid money. If I'm making movies, then I love my FX3s and my FX6s. Blackmagic Pixar, they've just brought their 12K out. I was looking at buying one of the 6Ks in a couple of years ago. I've seen the output of the 12K. It's amazing, but it's quite specific. If you're a colorist, and you know how to manage that, great. You know, if you're not, it's probably not the right camera for you. I mean, I love the Blackmagic what's the word I'm looking for? Ecosystem. I love the Blackmagic ecosystem. Hannah 1436, welcome along. No, absolutely New Zealand. Yeah, no, we're definitely New Zealand here, and welcome along. Lovely to see you. But yeah, for basic run of the mill, not taking pictures or anything like that, P1100. Love it. I really do. I think it's just an all-round good camera. The zoom on it is fantastic. Honestly, for those that have been around when I've done some of my moon shots on this thing, it's just awesome. And again, for streaming, it's awesome. You don't need to go and spend thousands of dollars. I mean, granted, yeah, it's $2,200, but you're getting a good solid camera for that value. You know, for those that want to do it off of their phones, go back to session 1. You can do it there as well. All right, guys, that was a good 2-hour session right there. If anybody else has anything else, what I will do is head on back over here and hang on, while I was in the USA, I saw 2 rocket launches, both Falcon 9S's, one daytime, one that I videoed, but the other was a nighttime launch, but my video looked like it was filmed on a toaster. Yeah, and this is where I like my FX3s, because they are very good at low light, whereas whilst the Nikon is good for low light, it's not as good as the FX3. And having said that, my iPhone and my Samsung are also very good at low light, but they're also digitally enhanced rather than optically, so it makes a big difference. All right, so I think on this particular occasion we're probably going to wrap up. It is 7:30. We've been running for a couple of hours now. I just want to give a few shout outs very quickly for those that are here. Sheep's Eye View, if you haven't already seen her debut stream, go and take a peek at that. That was actually filmed on a Nikon ZR, and that picture was absolutely awesome. And it was still thrown out in 1080, not 4K. It was thrown out in 1080, and it was just absolutely awesome video image. So go hit that one up and show some love on Sheep's Eye View. She has just started out. It was absolutely awesome. There you go. And there's the video. Just want to give a big shout out to Sam as well for his Tucker 39 gaming channel. He does a lot of flights via Microsoft Flight Simulator, as well as a few other channels. But if you're into your flight simming and want to see him leave your airport, go hit him up on his Discord server as well. Dino Aviation, thanks for the info, Tony. Very cool. I'll be back out with my OBS at OOR this week to test my sound. Only had vocals last week. Just opened all the audio to default. Dino's Aviation, mate. If you want to throw your channel in here very quickly and give yourself a shout out, you're more than welcome to. Absolutely happy to support you, buddy. And if you need any information as well, Glenn Martin, no worries, mate, and absolutely awesome to see you. It's very much a tech stream today, so I'm not sure if that's up your alley, but yeah, it's feel free to go and watch. But good to see you in here, buddy, and thank you very much for stopping in. But yeah, Dino's Aviation, throw yourself out a chat. You probably have to do a little bit of word magic, just because it'll obviously cancel a few things out, but you're more than welcome to. Samantha Aviation, I don't know if she's still here or what she's up to, but if you get a chance to go and see any of hers, go and play around in Samantha Aviation's channel as well. If you've got any questions or any points that you want to see in the next stream, now is a good point to highlight them, because we will be going into a little bit more advanced setup on the next stream. The obligatory, of course, there it is. Thanks to Carwin from Sheep's Eye View already. Thank you to Carwin for joining us tonight, and again, always for the support you give, mate, to all of the channels. Your background information being fed in for the flights arriving is just amazing. Awesome job, buddy. So thank you so much. Yes, okay, so next stream will be on session 3, will be a lot more advanced. We'll step it up another level. We've kind of talked about some of it today, but we'll be really going into the the full production blown kind of equipment, and you've seen a few highlights of it tonight. So we'll do a little bit more of that next week, same time. After that, I'm hoping to have a couple of Q&As with a couple of different people, excuse me, as to their thoughts, so that you're not just getting my thoughts on all of this, you're getting other people's concepts as well. We will go through not what they have, but how their thought process goes. So yeah, it's not a one-sided conversation. I'm trying to give you every aspect of streaming and how different people think about what they're doing. Okay, I mean, what I've got here to bring you this stream is very different to what I have going out on a stream. And what I have going out on a stream is going to be very different to the likes of Sam, the likes of Dino, the likes of In Plain Sight Pete, the likes of Sheep's Eye View. We all have our own way of doing things, and that's what makes streaming special. Whilst the concepts of streaming are pretty much the same, we're bringing you something, our personalities and the way we do it are very different, you know. I've tried to be as diverse as I possibly can with the setups, and that's why I'm not saying this is one way to do it and that's the only way to do it. I'm trying to give you all of the different ways of how it can be done. So if you have questions about different ways and I have the equipment to show you, I will show you. Just because I do it my way doesn't mean it's the right way. Okay, it's the way I do it. It's the way that works for me. You'll find the way that works for you. All right, guys, let's have a look. We've got lots of links out there. Official Weatherman Josh, welcome along, mate. And there's another good one to go and follow for your weather. If you do actually go and do streaming outside, Official Weatherman Josh has his own Discord, I believe his own YouTube in, I think he said September, October, maybe. Go follow him as well, mate. Absolutely awesome to see you. Thank you very much for coming along. We're all kind of 2 hours in, well, 2 hours 10 minutes in, a little bit more past where I wanted to go. So with that, guys, I'm going to say you all have an awesome week. I'm going to try and get out for Wednesday for an actual stream, an airport stream. I'll say weather dependent. It's not really weather dependent. It's just about whether I want to stand out in the weather. As I said, I've made enough covers and created enough things, but yeah, it's about whether I want to stand out in the weather. Guys, honestly, I appreciate all of you for stopping in and watching this. I hope it wasn't too technical. I hope it wasn't too dry. You guys all have a awesome rest of the week. I don't actually have an outro for this one, so all that I'm going to do is probably just cut the camera off. Yeah, I've got to psychologically prepare myself, Josh. It's I do enjoy it when I'm prepared. But with that, guys, I'm going to shut the camera off. I'm going to say thank you very much for joining me for what could be potentially very dry. Have an awesome rest of the week. I will potentially see you on Wednesday. If you've got your notification on, you will know very quickly whether I'm out. Other than that, to the moderators today, Josh joining us, definitely to our awesome Sheep's Eye View. Again, go and check her out. And I hope our awesome other moderator will certainly look after himself very soon. Our awesome Davo, or I hope he looks after himself and he gets well soon. Guys, thank you very much. That is me. That is me done for this evening, and thank you very much for joining me. I will see you all very soon on another stream. Next Sunday, 5:30, session 3. Thanks, guys. Have a good one.